Hello, I'm Joanna Hadley and I'm a fully qualified ballet teacher with the Imperial Society of Teachers of Dancing. Today we're going to talk about how to sew crossed elastic on your ballet shoes. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Dancewear Central YouTube channel for helpful tips on everything dance. From improving technique to practical product tips and everything in between. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to sew crossed elastic onto flat ballet shoes. Crossed elastic is really useful because it makes sure that the heel of the shoe stays on the foot. I actually sew the elastic in a particular order that makes it look quite similar to the way how you tie your point shoe ribbon. But don't worry, if you want to just sew the elastic and don't want to worry about the order, then you can still follow along with this tutorial as we'll be discussing the exact placement of where the elastic needs to be sewn. For this tutorial you will need scissors, pencil, needle and thread, ballet shoes and 4 pieces of elastic. These elastics may already be partially attached. I have here a pair of Roche Ballet canvas split sole ballet shoes. These are a really good standard pair of ballet shoes. I'm going to put a right and a left in each of the shoes, which is important because it means that the elastic will be sewn opposite. I'll come back to that later on in the video. And also it means that the wear is consistent every time that the dancer uses them, which means they'll mould to the feet. You can see on this pair of ballet shoes that the elastic is already partially attached. With some brands, the shoes will come with 4 loose pieces of elastic. If this is the case, you need to sew the elastic quite close to the heel at the back, as you can see on these shoes. There's not a particular precise place where it needs to go, just quite close to the back of the shoe so that the elastic is pulling the heel of the shoe up onto the dancer's heel to keep it nice and secure all the time when they're dancing. Next we need to tie the cord on the ballet shoes. Just a little hint here, if you tie it straight away into a bow, don't use any knots because then it's a lot easier if you need to adjust it in the future. If it's in a tight knot, it can be really difficult to undo. When we come to sewing the elastics on, we need to think about the outside of the shoe and the inside of the shoe. Because to give a really nice finish, what we need to think about is the way how a point shoe or ballet shoe elastic is tied, with the inside going across to the outside first of all. And so this is what we need to sew first. So if I just bring this one foot in front, and you can see here, this is the first piece we're going to sew, which is the outside going to the inside, and then afterwards we will sew the inside piece going to the outside. Now we need to mark and decide whereabouts we're going to bring our elastic over to. Now if you just look at a pointed foot, what you really want is to think of whereabouts the highest point of the arch of the foot is. That's a good guide. However, if you have a very highly arched foot, you may want to move this elastic further forwards. Generally it's going to about the middle of the shoe, possibly slightly further back. So remember, we're wanting to bring the outside piece across to the inside first of all. Now, at this moment we need to adjust how tight we want that piece of elastic. And then we're going to grab a pencil and put a little mark on the elastic, which sets how tight we want it. And also you can put a little mark on the shoe as well, which shows whereabouts you're bringing it over towards. We're now going to repeat the exact same step again, but with the other piece of elastic, and of course on the other shoe as well. Both pieces of elastic are now fully marked up. Just be careful that one piece of elastic isn't further forwards than the other. They should both be matching. And now we come to sewing. Looking at the pencil mark we made, you'll notice that it's probably on a slight lean. This is really individual to the shape of the dancer's foot, how high the arch is, whereabouts the elastic is placed, but it's really important that we observe the pencil line that we made, and if it is on a slant, we need to keep that piece of elastic on a slant. We're going to start off sewing now, so to make sure it's really nice and strong, we want to use a good quality thread, and we're going to sew along 4 sides in like a little square shape around this piece of elastic. This will stop it from coming undone in performances, in classes. So I'm going to sew along one side, and then I'm going to sew along the bottom of the elastic. You can just see I've turned the shoe there to make it a bit easier to sew, along the other side, and then finally along the top edge, which I'll show you in detail in just a moment. Sewing along the top edge of the elastic is really important because you've got that extra layer of security for if any of the threads fail, and it means, hopefully, that it won't come flying undone in the middle of your performance or ballet class. And also it stops the elastic from pulling away from the shoe. So you can see here what I'm doing is I'm sewing through the elastic, and then I'm just catching the very top of the binding, being careful not to catch the cord inside, because if you sew through the cord, if you need to adjust it in the future, you won't be able to because it will be fixed in place. And then I'm just sewing back through the elastic again. You can see here how that piece of elastic really looks like a point shoe where we tie the inside ribbon first. And I'm just checking here that the elastics are going to be in line with each other and that I'm not sewing one piece further forwards than the other. And now I'm going to start sewing exactly the same as I did on the other side. And here is your completed ballet shoe, which looks really smart because everything is aligned up with each other. We want to repeat this on the other shoe now. Remember to start off with the inside, going to the outside just as you would do with your point shoes. So that's the one we want to start off with first. You can see that comparison with a point shoe there. And then afterwards we sew the outside. Here are our completed shoes, and you can see the inside elastics are matching and the outside elastics are matching. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Dancewear Central YouTube channel for useful tips on everything dance.